This folding Homcom table might be a godsend. Undoubtedly, it provides the functionality that most people would require. However, the few downfalls that this product has prevents it from being utilizable day to day. And I'm going to go through all of those problems. Hello, this is Robert from DSP Plug. I'm talking about this Homcom dual drop leaf table. And it certainly does have some shortcomings. Now this table comes with wheels underneath, 4 wheels underneath. And keeping in mind, it's a very practical unit. It has storage inside. As you can see, I've got a food processor inside. And it also has drawers in which I've got some junk in and some hot plates. But nonetheless, the wheels directly underneath the unit, even though if in a locked state, prevent the table from being sturdy and rigid. As you might imagine, it would be somewhat uncomfortable sitting at a table if it was jiggling around. And that's not exactly a table, is it? It's more of an attractive accessory, especially due to its function. But keeping in mind, it's almost irreplaceable due to its function, as you can see, with a stool to the right and then with a stool to the left. You can clearly see that this allows you to have a table in a small area. Now, the one solution of many that I've come up with to make this table work as it should is to get feet that can go underneath this table. Now these feet come with a dual-sided tape so as to stick it to the bottom of likely an MDF structure, and I'm going to be using those to replace the wheels so that this table can stay static, and then I'm going to stick this self-adhesive pad to the bottom so as to keep this table from moving around and being an issue. Obviously, in way of height, you'd want to try and match the wheels at the bottom of the fold-out wings, the struts that support the table itself. Now on to the struts, the wings that fold out. Now the issue with these is it's really quite minimal. But one of the things that the makers had overlooked was the fact that these plastic support mechanisms tend to break. And on the left side, you can clearly see that is snapped off. So I'm going to be replacing those with an MDF piece that came from another part of a kitchen island cart, so that it will have the similar support, but it will not be something that will break. On the left side, you can see the same style of piece that is intact. And you can see that it's very forward thinking in its design. However, the plastic falls short of being something on which you can rely. So with that said, I will show you the piece that I'm going to be using to do that. So here is the piece that I plan to use. It's a extra piece from a kitchen island cart that was never used. And this piece is going to be fashioned so it fits at the very end here, like so. So as to provide the room for it to be closed, as you can see, because it closes here and there's a little bit of space there. There's going to be a gap. And then ultimately, you're also going to have to consider clearance for the hinge. Now, in the way of the hinge, I have more about that. But this piece, of course, I'm going to sacrifice aesthetic. And I'm going to drill in and I'm going to countersink on the opposing side. Perhaps you could say I could find some white screws, or I could use some Porca Fix. It's for porcelain. It's a strong enamel paint that is used for baths and stoves and whatnot. And I could paint the screws with that on the opposing side. So once the screws are on the other side, I imagine that should be quite acceptable. Once it's all said and done, this will be strong enough to hold this leaf of that table up, and I'm not going to have any issues with rigidity. Now moving on to the hinge, and the hinges have already gotten quite dusty. The two hinges provided, in my opinion, are not strong enough, not sturdy enough, so as to be providing that function. So my best advice would be to find a hinge that would not interfere with a similar piece of MDF or wood or whatever you have at hand, and then to measure the excess. Now, what I would do is I would utilize a piano hinge, and a piano hinge is a long hinge. Now, I can probably take some measurements. I would guess that we're talking about an 18-inch long piano hinge, and the piano hinge would start at the back, probably about here, and then would keep going on all the way to the end of the join of the drop leaf. And that would allow you to utilize this kitchen table in a straightforward way. Obviously, utilizing this table as a table is exactly the goal that you have in mind, because its function, its ability is practically unrivaled. But obviously the nature of its inception is made to be light and cheap to ship and all of those things. You can also see, keeping in mind in regards to the hinges, that on this end it is flush, and on this side you notice that this side is bending upwards, and that of course is just another justification for putting the far more rigid and sturdy piano hinges underneath the join of the drop leaf, keeping in mind that extra MDF piece that you're going to require so as to allow the door to close and for you to close the drop leaf furthermore. In my opinion, I think this table and its function and its ability is more than sufficient enough to rationalize getting yourself a butcher block top. I think with a butcher block top, a product like this would really be something. I mean, you would use it every day, and the question is would you keep the hinges? Perhaps you would not. Perhaps you would use a complete piece that spanned the entire length of this, or you would put the fold in and use those piano hinges as well. I'm considering doing this, and I've noticed at local hardware stores and also at Bed Bath & Beyond and Wayfair.ca. Sometimes on Amazon.ca, I've noticed some palpable deals. Perhaps I will find a deal, and should I do that, I'll make sure to make a video and a post about that. So make sure to look in this video's description in regards to these pieces. Now keep in mind on the TEMU ad for this item, it had suggested that one or more of these extensions would be provided, and only one was. So keep in mind that you're not going to be able to raise the height of this table, but also keep in mind with these wheels being on the wings as they are, getting more height would also mean that you would have to replace the wheels themselves. Again, this is Robert from DSP Plug, and good luck with your Homcom dual drop leaf kitchen table. And the link to this item will be in this post description. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.